Hi everyone, I'll just give you an update on the game I've been working on. I made a few changes, a few improvements. I've given myself another week to work on it, and I've still got to the end of the year, so I've got about 10 more days to just keep cramming features into it. Okay, oh look, there's a thing I added with Blender. Sort of a portal type thing, but let's get the actual game running. Here we go. Right. I was going to make a list of all the new features, but I will just try and spot them compared to last time. There's quite a lot of small things. So look, if I point with the pointer, can you see you've got a little version of the submarine there, so you can see what what your attitude is, things like that, just to help orientate. I think some people were a bit confused on the last one, the last video. Oh look, there's a let's just go look at this guy. Here's a sub, and he's still more or less placeholder graphics. And he's just going to tow that big block there that I'm pointing at with the crosshair. This thing here is just going to tow it back. So I've got 4 or 5 new base module types, but they don't really do anything. But the biggest difference, the biggest single difference is you'll see we've got more than one base now. So these subs are dragging back to their own base, and they're all colour-coded. The bases are colour-coded and the subs are colour-coded. So they're the red subs, and we got the green base there. I've put 2 bases very close together, just to make it easier to test features as I'm adding them. There's a guy bringing something in. He's got something with his tow ray, which unfortunately is pointing in the wrong direction. Yeah, left to right it's correct, but up and down it's still not correct, so I just need to spend some time adding that. But as I say, this is the biggest change. I've added more than one base. So, see, here's another little change. I've changed the multiplication factor on the height of the terrain, just so it's more rocky now. And I will be adding some gameplay. I'd like to get some stuff that's sort of like jammed down into these low parts of the landscape. Anyway, there's that object. In that case, it doesn't actually do anything yet, but it's just a low poly thing. It's just as well. This guy's, he looked like he was going to crash through it. Maybe he isn't. But let's have a little look at it. It responds to light, but there's nothing actually, doesn't actually do anything yet. But anyway, so like I say, I've got multiple bases, and I can show you that because of another little feature I've added. I'll just get out of the way of that sub, because he's coming through. Get a close-up look of him. Here we go. He's low poly glory. As I said before, they're kit bashed in Asset Forge, but okay. But I'll show you. Look, we got a map. Oh, you see, there's a little improvement around here. Can you see the radar? It rotates now. That was quite interesting to program because it's programmed in quite an old school way, like I would have done. It's the kind of program I would have written in my BBC Micro back in, 1986 or something. Just plotting things from an array, but I'm using the engine, Godot. I'm using its facilities to rotate the surface and to scale it as well, so I can zoom in and out, see everything that's going on. But put it back to the default scale. I don't know. Wait a minute. If I zoom in a long way, you can maybe even see what it's doing, because you can see those pixels. They're actually rotated, so you get a shape that's sort of a square that's corner-wise on. But there we go. But that got me out of a lot of mathematics, and it's funny when you think those early programmers, 8-bit, 16-bit, they would have to actually do all the trigonometry behind that themselves as part of creating a game with a rotating scaling radar. And they would have to do it all in assembly language and with not very much memory and not much CPU time. So if you see an old game and let's say the dots wobble a bit as they rotate, well, that's because of lack of numeric precision and because of the constraints they had to work under. But I'm glad to say that I got that rotating in less than a day. I had it rotating and scaling. And another thing I've added is a map. I wouldn't mind making that main sprite. Can you see the guy here? I wouldn't mind making him rotate. But these are actually quite detailed sprites because they're taken from the models. But let's get it back to 1-to-1. And you can see at the moment we've got 1, 2, 3. These are the two bases that are close together, like boobies. I think that motivates. Hang on, that motivates everything I do, surely. But so you've got two close together, just so I could test certain things. And then these ones are random every time you play it. Okay. So that's and also the controls are unlocked, so you can actually move around while that's on and find things. But just for the moment, it's got the bases and the sub. I'm going to make it so that when you go close to some of these modules, it'll mark them on the map. Oh, I accidentally revealed the other big feature. I have got the beginnings of a trade engine. It is in its early stages, but it's got a fairly solid foundation to it now. I sort of bodged it for a few days, and now it does work reasonably well. So we've got game time now. I can't remember if that was here before, but it's day 0, hour 6, and it's starting to get dark. So let's just bring up the trade computer. This font needs to be a bit bigger, I think. But if you can see down here, we've got, it's not properly formatted yet. These need to go into cells like in a spreadsheet. And Godot actually has the code to use rich text format and let you format columns and rows like a spreadsheet. And but this data here is actually accurate for that base. So blank 0 living, they must have one living module, accommodation module, 0 accommodation, 0 food. Sorry, 0 oxygen, 0 food. That doesn't sound very good. I don't want to live there. But let's just go have a look at that. And that is correct. It's a bit of an unusual distribution for early in the game. So it says there diver pen. That doesn't do anything yet. That one's not marked properly. I think I call that one Overwatch, and I haven't decided what to do with it yet. It does something. I've experimented with making some of these hollow, you see, if they're supposed to have water going into them to do something. Same with that one's hollow. That's a diver pen. Diver pen. That one's not marked properly, that's the accommodation. And as these, that one's going to be a submarine controller, so you can have, can support more than one submarine if you've got the staff. I don't know why that's called start block at the moment. And then, but if we look at this, this is supposed to have a holographic display above it, and it doesn't yet, because of the new system for commodities that I've got. So you've got all your different types of, it's not going to be a very good example because you've only got living quarters, but you've got all of your different types of base module, and they produce things and control things and things like that. And it's not very well formatted, but you got food, oxygen, mechanical parts, water, commodities like that, and they're all in a list, and this is working like it should do, he says. So it doesn't do any checks to see if there's enough in the base, but let's just press the arrow key and just order some stuff. So we'll say we want 40 of food, and I'm being careful because I don't know quite what works. Let's see, 40 of food and 20 of oxygen. It's not going to take it out of our money yet. But if I go like that, you see it's created. Again, it needs some kind of animation to it, obviously, but it's created a cargo block. So I'll tell you what, you can come with me because I've never done this on over a long distance. Let's just see. So then I take the cargo block. Let's take it to that other base. Now, I couldn't illustrate it properly. But it should. Update every 60 seconds. So if they've got food modules or oxygen modules, it would have been adding 1 unit every 60 seconds. I still haven't finished this glitch on the terrain. Can you see this terrain missing? Yeah, and it will come in eventually, I'm sure. But there we go. Yeah, and if we look on the map, we can see I'm getting to this other base. You can see how far away those other bases are. But we may have the beginnings of a solution to that. I mean, eventually I'd like to be able to program the subs and tell them to take cargo. But there it is behind us. Whoa, whoa, what the heck? Something's gone crazy. But I'm afraid I have to get used to things like that happening. It's still on there. What happened? Ah, I know what happened. It's the glitchy fast transport system. Can you see there's like a sort of glowing tube thing? Oh no, it's been activated at the wrong moments. It's glitchy. So look, I'll just bring this cargo pod in. And then if it works, come on, if it works, yeah, it's absorbed by the base. Again, it needs some kind of animation really. The base could send out like a force field ray and then just pull it in. But so now if we're connected to this base, let's see which number this is. This is base number 4. So if I bring that up, it'll say, look, base number 4, it tells me how many credits I've got, what the time is, 0 hours on day 1. And now, I should have shown you it before, but they've got quite a lot of, well, they've basically got the food and the oxygen I brought across. Everyone was on 0. And they've taken across the some supplies to them. So I don't know quite. Obviously, this is in the wrong place, and it barely works, and it keeps going off at the wrong moment. But let's just check something out. So they've got oxygen. Oh, it's a shame I brought oxygen, but every 60 seconds they should. Yeah, they've now got 26. They had 25 oxygen. They've got 26 because they've got an oxygen unit. And I haven't quite implemented the prices in the new system that I've put in yet, but it did work before, so I can get it working again. But the idea is, if you've got, say, 2 food modules, then the price would be divided by 2. So obviously, if someone's got 2 food modules, the food is cheaper there. And when I put some limits on how many modules a base can have, then well, will be there might be one base that's got really cheap food and then one base that's got cheaper oxygen and stuff like that. Okay, here we go, and you can see how glitchy it is. Basically, this tube points to the most recently added base. Oh, and there's someone coming in. Oh, he's doing a loop-de-loop. honestly, some of the things you see these subs do, you would think there was some quite sophisticated AI controlling them. You see them doing very strange things, but all they're doing is oh, did he crash into the ground then? All they're doing is they're just pointing themselves towards the target and moving towards it. They don't understand any kind of obstacle avoidance or anything like that. And off he goes. But it almost looks like it's under human control, I think anyway. Right, let's just go down here. And we'll go into the fast travel thing. But I'll just show you a little bit about the graphics. I think this looks pretty good actually, without making it look too good and, you know, at odds with the low poly aesthetic. But I'll just tell you how that works. You've got this sort of mottled effect. I don't know how the video compression will affect that. Oh, it came on. But basically it's just a noise texture, and it's the same technique that generates this landscape. So it's just amounts between 0 and 1 that it generates, but they smoothly move from each, you know, from one to the other. And that gives you a noise texture, and that's why it's got that undulating sort of force field effect. And then I'm just updating every frame. I add 1 to a number, and it just changes where it starts from. So here goes. Let's go back to those other domes at maximum speed. If it comes on, yes, it's come on. All right, whoa. God, that was a bit quicker than the outward journey. Like, I've got to go all the way back now at normal speed. So I don't know if that's how fast travel across the map will work. It would be nice if that thing was pointing towards those ones in the distance. They must be there somewhere. They're drawn on the HUD as those two green things near the crosshair. But I've added quite a lot of things, but I'm sure I will forget various things. But you may not even need fast travel if you know, if you can program the other subs to take your cargo for you. Here's a guy. Let's go get him. He'll have sent me a message at some point. Let's just have a look. I'm stuck. Any chance of a tow? I need to take these block captured messages out because we don't need to see everyone. It's covering up the other messages. So we've still got the same model for a... So I'd like to be able to sort of log on to that and start reprogramming it and things like that, deactivate it. But here's one of the subs, and he's stuck. So we will take him back to the base. You can take him back to any base at the moment, but I might make it so that you've got to take him back to his own base. So we just put a target around him, and he's difficult to drag, as before. And I bet there's several little things I've added. I've improved the font, for one thing, because I didn't like that font. We've got a nice nice computery terminal looking font. I might even add some lines of dialogue, because the technology they have, someone might say, isn't it amazing how we have all these force fields even though we're basically on 80s technology? Oh dear, has that not picked him up for some reason? Ah, no, it won't have done. I had to do something with layers, and he's not on the third layer. Okay, seems a shame, but let's just come out of it and see if I can correct that. So, generic sub. Generic sub, okay. We just take that. He's not affecting it because I forgot about that, and he's not on the third layer. And mines need to be on the third collision layer, so they're affected by that. So we pop him on layer 3. Okay, let's just test that. But the other big change I've made in the game is I'm not using Godot's source code editor anymore. I'm experimenting with just using Visual Studio Code, which, if you don't know about it, it's kind of like the, an industry standard code editor. And I'm just using that rather than Godot's built-in one. Godot's built-in one is good. If anyone's watching this and they're thinking of having a go with Godot, I would say have a go with Godot. I can't say that. Go with Godot. Go with Godot. But if you're thinking of having a go with it, I would say start with the built-in text editor. It's pretty good and it's very well integrated, but as I use Visual Studio Code for other programming anyway. Right, let's see if I can get this guy. Whoa! Oh dear, that's the glitchy fast transport system just suddenly coming on. So you're going at 8 times the speed. Wait a minute, where's he gone? I'll maybe track him on the radar. Did I just knock him so far? Or something? Right. Let's go after this guy then instead, this poor green bloke, because he doesn't seem to be doing anything. Oh, wait a minute. He's going to be in range. I suppose I ought to try it for bug checking. Let's see if I can, let's see if I can get this guy while he's towing. Let's see if it just crashes it. Oh. Okay. Here we go. Sorry about this. But yeah, I've got him. Again, these are placeholder graphics, but do you see his light goes off and his engine's turned off? He's even sent me a message, the poor sap. I'm stuck. Any chance of a tow? Yeah, of course you are, mate, because I just got you stuck. Where's the base? I can't find it. Well, how can it be gone? There's only 2 little bases there. He's got a blue circle around him because he's deactivated. But let's see if I can actually take him in now, because I couldn't before. Oh no! Oh no! The fast transport system suddenly came on. I reckon I know where I've gone wrong. I've done most of the collisions in the editor incorrectly, or this is a difficult thing to tow. I'll disengage for a sec. Here we go. He's stuck. And he sent me another message saying he's stuck somewhere. Yeah, I know you are. Alright. Oh, the best way is to reverse. This is the rear view. Should I make this glitchy and black and white? I don't know. See, it might be quite useful if you had a different colour scheme, different set of processing for the rear view. You might use your rear view if you're trying to find something. Oh dear, that's showing off a seam. Can you see a seam on the ground there? Yes, I haven't fixed that. But here we go. Let's see if this works. Yeah. So I just let him go. Yep, he's reactivated. He's picked up by the base. You see his little lights on again. Yeah, and off he goes. None the wiser as to his misfortune and why it happened. So there's probably stuff that I've forgotten that I've added, but I've got the basics, the very basics of the trade system, but it does look like this might survive the the lifetime of the game. I think I've got it all in place how I want it, but I forgot about forgot about this. It's whoa, something went wrong for him then. Physics explosion. All right, but oh my God, look at that unit that's gone flying off somewhere. It's escaped. But so, like I say, but what should be happening is his food prices should be affected by the number of food things, but he still hasn't got any food blocks. That just doesn't seem very likely that he wouldn't have any food blocks. Oh, but it's a new game, so let's just go across here and inspect these prices. You see, one of my pet hates with something like Elite Dangerous when it first came out, there was no way of recording what the prices were at a different station, so you're just supposed to remember it or write it down on a piece of paper. Whereas I will add something so you're not doing that. You can maybe send for a price list for a certain amount of money. But let's just see what his setup is like. You see, he's got 10 oxygen. And if I added checks for it, which I haven't, I'd then be able to buy his 10 oxygen off him and then take it to someone that hasn't got an oxygen generator. But another thing that I'd like to add to the game is altruism. So sometimes, just to keep the community going, you might take someone some oxygen or an oxygen block that you've got, a food block or something, because you don't want everyone to die off. It doesn't do anyone any good. So you're going to be in competition with the other ones and trying to make money, but also you'll be benevolent. So if we skip across to this other base that is nearly touching the first base, that will show that he has food 1. He has 1 food block, and he's got 1 unit of food, because that's generating food for him now. Okay, there's probably loads of other little bits and bobs that I haven't remembered. But as you can see, I'm still working on it and still adding things to it, and we've got the basics of a trade system and multiple bases and various other little refinements. Okay.